Hi, my name's Rich. I'm a recovering alcoholic, and this is Inside Addiction. I was born here in Schenectady. Um, the early part of my life, my parents were still together. I had an older brother and a younger brother. Um, uh, my childhood, I thought, was pretty normal. Grew up in what I thought was a loving home. I don't really remember a lot of my childhood. What I remember is a lot of snapshot memories. They're not really, I'm not 100% sure if they're actual true memories or if it's stuff that I was told. So my memory of my childhood isn't really all that great. My parents split up when I was about, I'd say right around 8 years old, and that's when I found out that my older brother wasn't my mother's son. He was my father's son from his first marriage that I never knew about. And when my mother left my father, she only took myself and my younger brother with her, and that was extremely traumatic for me. From that point on, I really didn't feel as though I'd fit anywhere in my family. Growing up after my parents split up, I always heard that from my father's side of the family, I was just like my mother. And I knew they didn't like my mother. And they would always say, everybody would be better off, your mother was dead. So right then and there, I thought they wanted me dead. And I got the same kind of information from my mother's family. They would say, I'm just like my father, your father's no good, you're this, you're that. And so again, I thought that I was no good and that nobody wanted me around. So I really didn't feel as though I belonged anywhere. As far as school, I guess I was an average student, nothing special, nothing spectacular, and carried that on through a lot of my life. The addiction in my family, I don't know that anybody suffered from any kind of addiction in my family. I did know that my father came home drunk a couple of times, and but I never knew him to be an alcoholic. I never really remember seeing him drink or seeing anybody else in my family really drink, except for maybe at dinner. So I really couldn't say if anybody in my family was an alcoholic or any kind of a problem with addiction or not.
How was school?
School for me was, it was difficult. It was a place I really, again, didn't feel like I belonged. I was shy. I was an introvert. Didn't have a lot of friends. Liked to sit inside and just keep to myself, and I was a big loner growing up as a kid until high school, junior high school. First time I had alcohol, I was about, I think, maybe 12, 13. My mother was a bartender at a bar in Schenectady, and every once in a while, she'd have a drink at home, and I'd take one from her, have a couple sips out of it or whatever. And that was the first experience I ever had with alcohol.
How old were you?
Like I said, around 12, 13 years old. And really don't think I touched anything else until around high school. In high school, it became a lot more prevalent. Alcohol was really accessible at my house. Like I said, my mother was a bartender, so she kept liquor in the liquor cabinet. She had a boyfriend who kept beer in the house every once in a while. My buddy who lived down the street, his parents drank, so there was always beer there. His brother was older, so there was always a beer ball left over from a weekend party or something. So drinking before school became became the norm for us on Mondays and Tuesdays, and it was fun. I mean, it got me out of my shell. I could talk to people. I wasn't ashamed of myself. I wasn't afraid. It gave me courage. It gave me I just like the way it felt. It gave me the things that I didn't have within myself. The courage, the ability to speak, not really caring. It was a great feeling at the time. The more drinking I did, the more other things started to come into the picture. Started hanging out with other people. Started getting into pot, smoking pot. From there, around my junior and senior year, started dealing a little bit in school. Small bags of weed, joints here and there. And things progressed from there. When I got out of high school, I started in with coke, acid, a lot of speed, crank, and things just progressed. I mean, the more I did, the better I felt. I didn't care what other people thought, because the people I was hanging out with and doing the drugs with and drinking with were all doing the same stuff. So, I mean, if they accepted me, then that's all I needed, because, again, growing up, I didn't feel as though anybody accepted me and my family. So these were people who accepted me and welcomed me. I felt as though they were welcoming me in. So these are the people I was drawn to. And things, like I said, things just kept progressing from there. My mother got remarried, and I started stealing a lot from my mother and my stepfather, change here and there, and to get drugs and other stuff. And my mother threw me out of the house, and I had to move in with my father's mother and father, my grandparents, and which wasn't that bad, because my older brother was there, and he was my older brother, and we drank together and did a lot of stuff together and had a lot of fun. But again, that's where the consequences started. I wasn't able to hold a job, and kept surrounding myself with people, excluding myself from a lot of my family, and surrounding myself with people. The more screwed up people were, the more I was drawn to them, because I felt better about myself.